Hello, and welcome to the conversation. I am your host, Rytis, reaching out from the capital of Lithuania, from Vilnius, and halfway across the world, in the city of Angels, Los Angeles, California, is Doctor of Psychology, professional psychic medium and healer, Lady Reverend Dr. Layla, and she is the Psychicology Doctor. Our topic today is the new year, the year 2023. What kind of energy does it bring? And also, how can we make this year, 2023, the year that actually counts? Which is, I think, the thought that we all have and we all desperately want to make it happen. So please, doctor, tell us, what can we do?
I hope you don't spill your tea as you're so enthusiastically. I had to put mine down. So I love that you brought into light the idea that we all have, which is 2023, and this is going to be the year. And in a way, it kind of is going to be the year, because we're stepping out of real talk for a second. We're stepping away from the beginning of the pandemic and wondering when it's going to end, normalizing that, it's here and in different parts of the world, and it's just changing, and it's just become a part of our lives. And, just as I've spoken with a lot of my patients and clients about, in December, going into the New Year's, their goals, and how 2023, just like everybody else is thinking, whether they share it or not, is, okay, I really hope this is going to be this is the it year, and it's interesting because, 2023, this is the year, energetically speaking, where it's, if you imagine the metaphor that, the heavens are opening, the sun is shining, the clouds are departing, and, the vibe, so 2023 is connected to the number 7, and it is connected to kind of like the gates of heaven opening. And again, if you don't believe in that, you can also just notice the energy around you or how people are acting. And you'll really notice that people are focused on opportunity this year. And going into 2023, there was a lot of pleasantries. There was a lot of like, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to follow my dream. I think I'm going to follow my heart. And I have to give myself this opportunity, which is, so what does opportunity mean? It means giving yourself the path, opening the doors that you didn't give yourself before, whether you're scared or something that was kind of dusted off to the side that you haven't thought about in a long time. So I know somebody that's, learning to do some woodworking, some building after retirement. I know some people that are picking up dancing, in their mid 40s, is something they've always wanted to do. Somebody else's, it's really just giving yourself that space to explore who you are. And if you're in a career that is not working for you, or if you're in a career that's been difficult, it's opening that doorway. It's opening that vibe where you can actually kind of like pierce through that veil that's been like clouding so many people for so long. So that's one part of it. So that's the energy of 2023. It's the first half is definitely the year of opportunity. The second half, so going from June to December of 2023, you're looking at, it's preparing to harvest, preparing to see what it is that you decided to sow and what you decided to plant at the beginning of this year. So I think like right around spring, going into summer, sometimes people forget, or even just 3 months into the new year, I don't know if you have that experience where it's like, oh, I have this goal, and then a few months in it like deflates. So
every new year, that's why I said in the beginning, how can we make this year count? Because so many of us like lose sight or lose track. It's like New Year's, everyone's collectively like, yay, this is awesome, let's do things. And then eventually we all go like, I'm back in my routine. So
right,
yeah.
right. And again, I love it. You're saying routine. It's so that is a part of our psychology. It's we want something new, and we have a tendency to go back into our routine because it's like a warm blanket. It's like something that's comfortable. So what I'm inviting everybody to do, wherever you're at. So that means it doesn't mean you have to get up and rip that warm blanket off. It just means, what is a comfortable next step? So if your goal, for example, let's say in working with some let's just say the funnest one, working with some actors, and
Hmm.
their creative blocks, or working with some producers who are writing, and their blockage on, like, okay, what do I do with this scene? And it becomes this emotional turmoil. Or let's say your goal is, I want to take the next step in my career, or I want to take the next step in this other thing, but what ends up hitting you, so this is kind of the secret between how to maintain your goal.
Hmm.
It's, what do I want? Where am I now? What do I want? What am I envisioning? So for those people who like to manifest, it's like, what do I envision? We hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, for
Yeah. Yeah.
example, let's say you want to see yourself up on stage. So like the ballerina that, getting stage fright, but she's this amazing, amazing dancer. I mean, I'm just like, holy cow, she's this amazing dancer. But when she gets on stage, she's ridden with anxiety. Excuse me. And so it's where am I at? What do I want? And then all I ever hear often, like on social media, TikTok, YouTube, things like that, it's like, okay, you just have to envision it. But psychologically, there's all these little things in between that was originally preventing us from getting there. And so what's our first thought? Oh, let me give up. Oh, I'm not
Hmm.
good enough. So our first thought is usually, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it, which falls into, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable enough. Nobody's going to love me. And, or I feel guilty that, am I taking this away from someone else?
Yeah.
And
You're
if I
you're hitting all
manifest
the
this,
notes, all
right?
all the notes in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just what I keep hearing over and over and over again in my practice. And so this is the running theme. First of all, universally, spiritually, the universe is abundant. The universe is so abundant that I find competition to be a very intriguing concept. There is enough for everybody to have their dreams and their desires. There is enough, for example, in the entertainment industry, for there to be 50 amazing actors and actresses. There is enough room on that red carpet for everybody. The only difference between the person that's there and the person that wishes they were there is giving yourself that space to see how far you can get there. So again, it's oh, and another one is usually fear. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting some really big topics, but for the everyday person, the person that, for example, some of my patients, their goal for the day is to get up and feel healthy. Their goal is
Hmm.
to get up, step out of depression, or step out of, their anxiety. And I mean this level of anxiety that if they go out in public, they're going to have a panic attack. So everybody has a different range of goals, right? And everybody deserves to have their goal, to have, let me try that again. Everybody deserves to give themselves enough love and opportunity to step into their goal wherever it is. Because there's nothing too small or too big. It's just wherever you are at, right? Like a little
Hmm.
baby, there's so many babies right now that the first goal is either the first word, their first step, and you can't compare yourself to that. You can only compare yourself to yourself. That's the other thing. Focus on yourself. Focus on who you are, the best version of you, the worst version of you, loving yourself and giving yourself the opportunity that, okay, this is my life, this is where I am. And maybe I will look at social media, or I will look outside of myself to see maybe some ideas to bring into my world, but that I don't have to be that, right? Does that make sense so far?
It does, it does. And I'm just so far what I'm hearing, it's actually baller, because it sounds like this year is not only aligning to be like, with the number 7, with just the the light flooding in, like you said, the gates of heaven opening up. But it also makes sense, I think, from a psychological standpoint, what you just said, which is, see where you're at,
Mhm.
look at where you want to go,
Mhm.
and then take steps towards it. And then
Right.
what's the downside of it? It's literally nothing. When you think about it, it's,
Mhm.
you go, you do something, and you've done it. You don't have to think about, because I think that's a whole different topic, but like regret is a huge thing in life, which,
Right.
none of us want. But somehow, like you said, the comfortable blanket gives us the illusion
Mhm.
of like, if I don't do anything, I'm gonna stay in this kind of sort of a good place that I am right now. So why do I risk this place for something that I want and that might even be better for me?
Right.
But what I'm hearing from you is that this is the year to just do it. just
Mhm.
just do it. Just take the step. And once you've taken that step, you'll look around, it's going to be a different perspective. Take another step, you're going to see a different view, and then just
Right.
continue on it. And then you even said that this year
Mhm.
we will get to reap the benefits as well.
Mhm.
That's the best timeline ever. Like, sign me up. Where do I sign up? I'm signing right now. This is 2023 is sounding pretty awesome.
It is really awesome. And it is really awesome, and we deserve it. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves. So the whole purpose of even starting this show is people think things are so difficult, and I can agree. People have suffered difficulties. But I want people to see, I want anybody that's interested to know that it can be easy. So if I'm sitting here and saying, for example, in a lot of like the psychic readings, they just want the comfort of knowing, is it going to happen? Is it not? If it's not going to happen, I let them know. I'm honest. I let them know this doesn't look like it's going to happen, but let's look at some other options. You're not going to leave them hanging high and dry, and again with the blanket in the corner thinking that that's the safe place to be. Really, the whole purpose of this is to encourage everybody, including the entire world, if possible, to just step out of one comfort zone and go into the next step. So again, the concept of blanket is, so what could go wrong? Nothing can
Mhm.
go wrong. What's going to happen is, and again, stepping out of the mentality that something's going to go wrong or I made a mistake. That's okay. We're meant to make a mistake. We're supposed to trip and fall, right? Um, and if you don't trip and fall, you're not going to learn how to walk. So again, starting where you're at and knowing that the next step might be excitement, fear, worry. So these are all the emotions that come up. Your body is going to have a reaction. Your body might, for those who are depressed, your body might feel exhausted and tired and be like, oh, I don't want to get out. I don't want to do this. So there is that feeling of this might feel a little painful, but, and that's a good thing, because there is going to be a little bit of pain in order to grow. This is no different. You'll hear me say this pretty often. My little brother, for example, he hits the heavy weights and he's tearing his muscles, and it's I'm very proud of him because he's graduating from medical school. So I'm super, super proud of him. He's just the funniest kid in the world. And so he'll call me and he'll be like, yeah, I worked out with my friend and we're pumping those weights. And, oh, they call it gains. They call it gains. Like, yeah, we're getting those gains.
Mhm.
And I said, that's wonderful. How are you feeling? He's like, oh my God. He's like, I could not get out of bed, but I felt good knowing I did something positive. And that's what I'm encouraging people to do. So I'll be completely transparent. I'm so comfortable, for example. So my goal for 2023 was actually pushed by my patients and my clients to start putting content out on social media. My entire thing is through word of mouth. My entire business has been through
Same.
word of mouth, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So this is me stepping out of my comfort zone. being in front of the camera, sharing content, knowing what I want to say, maybe not being sure exactly how to say it, and for God's sakes, knowing that it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. That's okay, because I'm stepping into something new. So I think, again, the main thing that my focus is on is letting people know that, yes, this is the time for opportunity. And think about it. What would you do if I said, yes, if you, reminds me of the Field of Dreams, if you know that movie, if you
Mm-hmm.
build it, they will come. If you build it, it will happen. It's really just believing in yourself and loving yourself and trusting, or even pretending that you trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, because a lot of people don't trust themselves, well, I just don't know that I'll be good enough. I don't know this. That's okay. It's okay. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. And unfortunately, as teenagers and as adults, we don't have that loving mother or father or parent, or caretaker, right? Holding us as we're learning how to walk. So I'm hoping this is going to help people feel held as they're learning how to walk into their next step. Now, there's some people, it's just like they don't even need that. They're running. I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But for those of us that aren't sure, again, take the next step. This is absolutely the year to do it. If you fail, that's okay, because just get up again and try it again. And the part that didn't work, it's like a recipe. If it didn't work, find the part that didn't work. If you put too much baking soda instead of baking powder and suddenly it tastes a little weird, when you make that chocolate cake, well, okay, maybe that was just me. But but take that recipe and give yourself the time to work on it again.
Mm.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of yeah.
I'm just so many things running through my mind right now. And I think what's good is I'm realizing, as you were speaking, I realized something. And I think, please, to everyone, take it in the most loving way possible. But I don't think that there is such a thing as a painless existence. Regardless of whether you stay in your comfort zone or you take that step outside of it, it can be painful. It probably will be painful. But you staying in your comfort zone doesn't mean that pain's not going to come to you in a different way. Because, like,
Right.
I mentioned before, regret. And I've had enough. If we have time at one point, I'll tell everyone the story of how, after years of not feeling much, a regret hit me where it hurts the most. But it's a different topic. But it's, you have nothing to lose, like you said, but on so many levels, and in terms of trying to save yourself, which is a very natural thing from being hurt, or from potentially getting some pain towards you, is understandable. But if the year is lining up to be the way you're saying it is, and it's literally something very powerful and a light walking you towards whatever you want this year, take a chance. Take a chance. Live it, And it's eventually it's going to turn out to be something. It's never going to be nothing. And yeah, I'm going to stop philosophizing in here, because you've said way better things in a way more I can't even speak.
No, but I love,
Okay.
no, well, hang on though, but that I love that you're taking in information that is completely brand new to you. And so you're probably having a reaction that majority of people are going to have or are having. Give me a second, because I actually have an electric blanket and I need to turn it off because it's very cold here. Speaking of blankets.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the way that you're condensing what I'm saying is probably what most people are relating to. So yes, punchline. This is the year. I'm actually telling you, take a step, and I'm letting you know that, yes, and there might be some pain. There's going to be some emotions that come up. Look to find where You can find comfort, help, friends that are helpful, not people that are going to criticize and put you down. And if you don't have that, listening to podcast shows, it doesn't have to be this one. It's just whatever you feel comfortable, that makes you feel safe enough to take the next step, because it is scary. I've seen people that are laying in bed and, or people that are dying from cancer. Again, so many topics to talk about. And you know what? I am going to share this piece. A lot of the elderly that I work with that are on their deathbed and they're just kind of preparing to pass over, the number one thing I hear is regret. And you mentioned that. It's regret. And I think the hardest thing for me to see in people, whether they're young teenagers or they're elderly, it's seeing people regretting that they didn't try something. And I'm really here to say that this is the year. If you're going to try something, try something. If you're going to do a dance class, fall on your butt, be safe about it, wear some knee pads.
Yeah.
If you want to start trying to travel, prepare yourself to travel, get the information out there. If you want to start your career, actually because I'm a part of a EMDR group for psychology. It's a psychology group, not a psychic group, is what I'm trying to say. And it's a evidence-based trauma therapy. And, one of the supervisors that runs the group meeting, she's, I think, in her late 50s or 60s. Now, she's been a marriage and family therapist for over 40 years, something like she 30, yeah, something like almost 40 years. She is going to go get her doctorates now. And she is so excited about it. And watching her be excited going back to school to learn something new, even though she's a professional, she's going to be amongst all these students, and to see her point of view of being excited and maybe a little bit scared, it's so amazing to see. So again, I'm mentioning elderly because we can learn a lot from them. And I'm also mentioning the youth because nobody ever thinks about the people in the middle. And so when you're young, there's more fear, but we think there's more opportunity, but that's not the case. You are where you are. And again, I think the last piece I want to say is the definition of pain. There's generally there's two definitions, and most people think there's only one. Pain is negative. Pain is not always negative. Pain can actually be positive. Did I accomplish something today? Was it hard for me to do it? Yes. But did I do it? Yes. So do you get the difference that I'm talking about?
I think so. And I think what I'm thinking about right now is, I know that I've been through it many times when it feels like the world or your surroundings do not give you an opportunity that you think you need. Was there ever anyone who told you that you can't give yourself an opportunity to do something? Give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance to take that step. Like you said, just throw the blanket off carefully, but take one step. One step outside of it. Give yourself the opportunity to say, hey, if no one else is going to provide this for me, I'm going to provide it for myself.
Right.
And take that step. Pain, like you said, pain. You're going to feel pain regardless. Life is fairly painful,
and
for many reasons. Yeah.
Not to interrupt, but as you said, taking that blanket off, that's a good pain. That's an example of a good pain. It might feel a little cold, metaphorically speaking, or physically. It's wintertime in so many places. But realistically, it's the pain of getting started. It's the pain of starting a momentum. But once the momentum is there, that pain goes away. So stepping away from just the pain. There can be a pain in, well, not stepping away from the pain. I feel like it's the pain of getting started, and then eventually that goes away and it becomes like a stasis. right?
Mhm.
It's a, you don't feel the pain anymore. It's a, I go to the gym, I work out, my muscles are building. Now I know how to take care of myself whenever my muscles are sore, for example. I know how to eat better now. So it's building that momentum. That's the good pain. The bad pain is, well, if I hide in the corner and I don't do anything, maybe I don't have to deal with the emotions that come along with it. But in the long run, there's going to be regret. Or this hurts so bad that it's getting in the middle of my day. So it's really up to you to decide if you want to give yourself that opportunity. That's what I meant to say. If you want to give yourself that opportunity. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the overall, to sum up everything, seek out pain, but the good kind,
The good
the
kind.
good kind that makes you grow. And I think, just fail enough so that you succeed eventually.
Give yourself
Think,
permission to fail.
yeah, think about, like I always say in my creative work and just in everything in life, I try. I'm not great at it myself, taking my own advice. It's hard, even though you might be right, but I think
Just
perspective,
watch the show.
right?
Remind
But
yourself.
like, yeah, but perspective is such a powerful thing in life. And when you feel inside that you want to do something, but something's holding you back, sometimes all it takes is just that tiny little shift
Right.
in the mindset, in the perspective, that makes you see things, from like a tiny little window, like an angle that you haven't maybe thought about before. And that gives you the spark to just go,
Right.
like an impulse. It's like an improv. Don't think, just do it. It's scary.
Right.
It's incredibly, like, your heart is pounding, but if you learn to harness it and to capture it, it becomes fun. But you have to feel that pain and that quote unquote failure enough times so that it becomes, like you said, like a plateau, like a routine.
Mm-hmm.
So then you look around and you're like, hold on, this was
Right.
supposed to be scary?
Yes.
This? I'm owning this. What's the next step? So to sum it all up, uh, give yourself a chance. And the year 2023 apparently is giving you everything. It's going all in on you. So the only question left is, why aren't you going in all in on yourself? And if you are, great. If you're not, you have no reason to be afraid. So just
Right.
go in, do it. And we wish you well in this journey. And we thank you for joining us in this conversation from halfway across the world. One more time, my name is Ritis. On the other side, we have Dr. Leila. And hopefully we'll see you next time for our next conversation from halfway across the world.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure,
Thank
and
you
we'll
so
see you
much.
in the next episode of the Psychicology Doctor.
Yes.